everybody, welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host James Chen, aka Jay Chenzor. Haven't done a fun Q&A session with my chat in a long time, so I figured I would go ahead and do that today. So obviously Aki is coming out tomorrow, so next week I'm going to be able to give all my impressions about her. I also talked about what is balance in a fighting games, and what should we really expect out of balance in fighting games. So if you want to check that out, that should be on YouTube already at youtube.com/UltraChenTV. Again, thank you for all the support. Continue to like and subscribe. Continue to turn off ad blockers for me, please. YouTube ad money is very crucial for me right now. And then also, please leave comments if there's any other questions that you would like me to answer. Maybe I can save that for a future Q&A. So let's go ahead and do this. If you want to ask me a question, type at @JChenzor in the chat. Acid Drops asks, how's the apartment now? The apartment's been fine for a long time. For those of you who don't know, I had a disaster literally almost exactly a year ago to this day. The apartment's been fixed. It's just that I had to spend all of my money to fix it and literally have no money left, and insurance and the city haven't given me any money back yet. So I'm just basically, I have butterflies, I have moths in the wallet right now because I'm out a ton of money from the repairs and I haven't had a chance to fix that yet. So, Vanghorn 2.0 asks, do you have an opinion on replay video that can be labbed in Tekken 8? I mean, if you're talking about that feature where you can take a replay and then take over the game from that point forward, so you can now lab a situation to find out how to defend against like a mix-up or something like that, that thing is amazing. I love that feature and it's great. Every fighting game should have it. It's not the first time we've seen it. Guilty Gear has had it back in Accent Core days, but I think the first fighting game that ever had that feature was Skullgirls, if I'm not mistaken. I think Skullgirls actually has that feature in its replay and training mode as well. Or you're supposed to be able to like load even before Skullgirls, huh? Okay. So, but Skullgirls definitely had it more. It was an old Dojin game that had it. Okay, but in terms of like more mainstream games, and I know Skullgirls doesn't really count as much as a mainstream game, but it was a main game at EVO one year, so we'll count it for that reason. So yeah, Skullgirls definitely was one of the first ones that has that. So it is a great feature. Every fighting game should have it, and now that they're adding it to Tekken 8, the fact that Street Fighter 6 doesn't have it feels like a major gap in Street Fighter 6's training mode. But again, look, Street Fighter 6 training mode is great. I have no complaints about it right now. The frame meter is like my absolute favorite thing in the entire world. Like, I love that thing so much. So yeah, it's great. Every fighting game should have it. But let's make sure rollback, netcode, and crossplay are handled first, and then we can worry about all of those kinds of bells and whistles afterwards. But for sure, rollback and crossplay are the most important things first, and then adding things like frame meters, frame data, being able to take over replays, etc., are on that next tier. Forrest asked, even though he says this isn't his question, but you can ask multiple questions, so it doesn't matter. He says, what is your take on balancing a very strong character like SF or Seth by giving them low health? I think it's interesting. I think it lets you get away with doing a lot of things. Obviously, giving everybody the same health really kind of forces you to have like true balance. But I do like the fact that health differences kind of change characters. What I like about Street Fighter 6 right now is that some characters have different health, but nobody has extremely low health. So I think that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Akuma is the first character that has like 9,000 health in Street Fighter 6. Let's just put it that way. But a character like Zangief having extra health so that he can afford to take more risks and stuff like that, I think is actually good. You know, obviously you can balance it the other way that Guilty Gear does, in which you just give them inherent defense ratings. So that's an opposite way you can do it. Instead of giving them more health, you just give them a modifier, a percentage modifier on the amount of damage that they take. Regardless, essentially what you're doing is changing how much health they have. And I don't mind it. I like that as a concept because I think it allows you to get away with things. You know, like if you gave Zangief another 1,000 health, does that up him in balance? It probably does. And you don't have to change all that much, right? I mean, Cammy, for example, like was in Street Fighter V. Everyone's like, this character's broken. And then she got dropped to what, 850 stun or whatever. And now everyone's like, Cammy's useless. You know, like, you know, it makes a big effect, but it does allow you to get away with things. However, I don't like the Seth type of archetype where you're just like, I can do everything and I have literally no health. Like, I feel like that's a little lazy. Like, you could probably do a better job kind of, you know, meeting in the middle a little bit to make it better. But otherwise, I don't mind using health as a means of balance. I do not mind it. Investigation Cone asked me, have I ever played Akuma? How do you expect his arrival at the end of the current set of characters to go? I've had no chance to play any Akumas. Remember, there's a lot of cool, like, hey, come play Aki early content creators that I'm not getting invited to. So needless to say, I have not had a chance to mess with Akuma at all. So I do not have any knowledge, opinion, anything. I do not know anything about the character legit. How do I expect his arrival at the end of the current set of characters to go? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little stronger. And like I said, I wouldn't honestly be surprised if he actually did have less health. And I wouldn't mind that as a balancing for Akuma largely because that's always been Akuma. Like, that's how he's always been kind of balanced as this character who's super strong but has way lower health than everyone else. At this point, it kind of feels like part of his personality to me. So if they did that as a balance means for Akuma, I wouldn't mind it so much, kind of going with Forest questions as well. Case Money asks, there was discussion of rage quits a while back and how peer-to-peer nature of online play made it undetectable. I don't play MK1, but it seems like they're doing something with Quitalities. Have they figured out what is going on or what is going on there? As I discussed back when we were talking about that subject, that is if you can actually quit in-game knowledge-wise. Like if you go to the main menu, like if you just close the application or you literally like just go and exit the match from the menu or something like that, you can do Quitalities. And in fact, people even confirmed to me that in MK11, sure enough, if you just unplug the netcode, if you just unplug the network cable from your router, like if you unplug it from the PS5, you know, the game can logically say, you know what, the PS5 lost connection, maybe you rage quit, let's do this. But again, the game itself probably doesn't even have the ability to check whether the cable's plugged in or whether it's using Wi-Fi or not. It just knows whether or not it has a connection and what type of connection it is. The reason why rage quitting doesn't work if you're smart enough to unplug your router or something like that is because the console itself has zero idea where the network break happens. It could have happened on your router. It could have happened on their router. It could have happened on any of the cables and routing stations anywhere in between. So in other words, when you disconnect a match via that kind of thing, there is no way for the game to really know, and it will just error out instead of giving you a quitality. If you actually go back to the main menu of the PlayStation or quit in-game, the game literally knows you quit, and so it can trigger quitalities. And it's that time again. Hi, Nathan. Hi. Hi. You're wondering when it would be cat time? Yeah, it's just whenever Nathan decides to come up here. Hi, Nathan. Mwah. 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 What are you doing here? Isn't Project L solving this? We don't know yet. But they might be able to do it because they have the infrastructure for a little bit more server side knowledge of things. And so if every match in fighting games are peer to peer, right? So every match you play in a fighting game is peer to peer. Because you're peer to peer, there's no overlord master watching over the match and going, all right, what's going on here? But if Project L, because Riot has their server infrastructure in place where everybody can actually, connect to a Riot server and not explode Riot because like, oh my God, I have to have all these dedicated servers. Like Riot clearly has the infrastructure to handle that. So if every match actually goes through a server relay point, that server relay point can now be the mediator. They're saying you're connected, and if one person rage quits, it can actually tell which person disconnected because I still am connecting to you, but I'm not connecting to you. I'm going to reward you with the win and reward this guy with the rage quit. The problem with peer-to-peer is there's no mediator in the middle. You literally just have one string, and if it breaks in the middle, the only thing that happens is both games go, well, connection's gone. But there's nobody out there that can say who is still connected, who isn't connected, etc., etc. So if Project L leverages the infrastructure that Riot has for League of Legends and makes every fighting game, for example, go through a server as a link, they can determine who is actually going to quit or not. So. The game has to rely on save games and peer-to-peer. No, I mean, again, that save games thing, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I pioneered color commentary for let me get to that question in just a second. Let me get down to the next question over here. Louis B. Is that like an alternate spelling of the obey? Probably not. Louis B says, first time got you on live. A big fan way over from Vietnam. Oh, hello. Hello, welcome, Louis B. Hope you are enjoying yourself over there in Vietnam. Jeff loves tournaments where you were the commentator. I wish to play SF6 online with you sometime if that's possible. I suck at the game though, and am an old gamer too. I haven't done this in a while just because I've been just having fun playing ranked. But I used to just bring up lobbies where anybody can just jump into the lobby and come play. And I would just jump into Battle Hub. And then, it's not a lobby. We would just take over a Battle Hub server. And then people would just jump in and play. If you ever see me tweet about that, or if you ever catch me streaming on twitch.tv/jchenzo and I'm doing one of those Battle Hub sessions, absolutely just come on in and just be like, hey, I want to play you. We can jump on a Battle Hub machine or something like that and play. So yeah, Forrest says pretty sure Tekken 7 uses save states to detect rage quits. It saves before and after match. Again, that's not gonna solve the problem. We've talked about this before, Forrest, and that's not gonna solve the problem, unfortunately, because again, if you unplug from the router, the game literally has no idea where, like, even if it saves or doesn't save or whatever like that, it literally has no ability to tell you who rage quit. Like, there's just, the save state isn't going to be a way to determine who left and who didn't. So Shay asks, you pioneered color commentary for fighting games. Yeah, I used to. So before I get into the next part of that, I used to be play-by-play a lot more when I first started in Street Fighter 4, but I felt like, because I was commentating with David so much, David was a little bit better at the whole. I mean, I still do play-by-play a lot. I still do a lot of the main course narration and stuff like that. It's interesting. I don't feel like the FGC has as defined roles for play-by-play and color. We just kind of jump back and forth depending on who happens to be talking at the time. Like a lot of times when I commentate with Ringe, I'll do play-by-play and then he'll add an analysis and then jump to play-by-play because something crazy happens, and then I add analysis, and we just jump back and forth. I don't really feel like it's as much of a I don't feel like we have as much of a defined role in the FGC as a lot of, like traditional sports and as a lot of other esports as well. So, So, but Shay also asked, what do you think about the importance of it in context of FGC and where it can evolve? Well, I kind of answered that, I guess. I don't think it's important to really maintain those roles hardcore. I think it's good to be able to jump back and forth, especially because a lot of times it depends on who you're commentating with. The FGC, we get swapped between people so often. And as a result, I find myself having to switch my role a lot, right? So a lot of the times, depending on who I'm commentating with, I'm like, oh, this person doesn't do as much analysis. So now all of a sudden I'll just do color analysis all the time. But then if I commentate with someone like Sajam or David, then all of a sudden I'll switch to the, kind of little bit play-by-play stuff, because Sajam, for example, is so good at analysis, right? He knows he can dive into a lot of the nitty-gritty of what's actually happening and why, like, the players are making the decisions. But then I'll commentate with Yipes, for example, and Yipes is the one that brings the energy and the fun. So I'll concentrate more on the on the technical kind of side of things and stuff. So you want to jump around. I think in the FGC it's more important to have that skill, that variety. So I think that's kind of where the evolution comes from, in my opinion, is that as commentators, especially in the FGC, we have to kind of be good at doing all the roles, especially if you're one of the more prominent commentators. Some commentators out there, they have one mode, right? Like this is their shtick. This is how they commentate. But there's a lot of other commentators like myself, like Jeremy, like Ringe, like David, like Yipes, like Sajam, like Tasty Steve, who are going to find themselves commentating with just the biggest wide range of people, and as a result they do have to kind of be able to adjust to that. I mean, as much as everybody sees Tasty Steve as the hype man or whatever, he jumps into a lot of analysis as well. So yeah, Shay says it's crazy to see in FPS esports they keep commentators in pairs for many years rather than mixing it up. I mean, to be fair, in the FGC and in Street Fighter in particular, they mix it up more than most. Because honestly, like, even if you look at Tekken, they have a hardcore core group of commentators, right? It's like whenever they do commentators, a lot of the times it's going to be Steve, Rip, Markman, Eris, MYK. I mean, Eris if he's willing to travel, but MYK, they're adding a few other people in there now. But for the most part, they kind of stick to a core group. Street Fighter, however, because everybody wants to do Street Fighter, they just, like, there's just this giant swath. And also there's also like 900 Street Fighter events out there. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's tough as a commentator because, as a commentator trying to make a living off of commentator, you'd rather have the Tekken method because that just means more consistent income. But for the interest of growing the scene and, enjoying the fact that we have a variety, many different styles, and that we open the doors for a lot of potential newcomers in commentary, obviously it's better to do it the way that we are doing now. It's hard for me because I want more commentators and I want to help more commentators, but at the same time, I also want to be able to eat. So, it's like, what do I do? So it's kind of a little difficult right there. So Vanghorn 2.0 asks, do I stream when I play video games? I haven't been streaming my Street Fighter 6 run with Kimberly. I've been streaming everything else. I haven't been doing it with Kimberly because I'm taking my Kimberly play very seriously. And when I play online, I play very, very poorly. I play very poorly when I'm streaming at the same time. And so for Kimberly, I've been playing without streaming. But recently I streamed some Guile play. I streamed some Ken play. I streamed some Zangief play. I will do the Battle Hub stuff and that. The difference is that Vanghorn 2.0, the thing that makes it confusing is that I do it on a different Twitch channel. I do it on twitch.tv/jchenzor. So if you want to follow that channel as well, so you get notifications of when I go live, or just follow me on Twitter. I always post up when I go live on stream stream as well. But I do stream my online play on twitch.tv/jchenzor, but the talk show is here on Ultra Chen TV because this used to be a joint show with multiple hosts, so it didn't make sense to have it on one of our individual channels. Zilcho asked, I'm sure it's because of what you're dealing with, busy, but will Battle Hub or other lobby nights come back in the future? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, I've just been craving, like yesterday when I played Zangief online, one, I started super late, and two, I was just craving the rank. I just really wanted to play ranked. And I just really wanted to play Zangief for some reason. So I just didn't do the Battle Hub yesterday. A lot of that is ADHD. So hopefully I'll be able to get that at some point where I'm just like, let's do it. Let's do it. So we'll actually see what happens in the future. But hopefully I'll get to that point where we have them again, for sure. Any other questions just regarding fighting games, regarding me? I mean, it's kind of an AMA, so you can ask me anything that you want to. I may not choose to answer it. It'll just depend on what the questions are. So ask me anything. I won't necessarily answer everything. There you go. So, but yeah, any other questions here? Like I said, Virus, you can ask. I may not accidentally answer. Do you see the quality of life stuff coming tomorrow to Street Fighter 6? Yeah, I think that's good. I'm still waiting for my alternate inputs for Drive Impact. Still waiting for that, Capcom. Still waiting for that. I would still love to see that. But I mean, if they keep doing that, that's great. That's great. And if it comes with relative speed, I think that's awesome. So there's definitely, like, I'm surprised they still haven't yet fixed the inputs being eaten during Drive Rush. Actually happened to me in a Zangief match at one point, and I was like, I can't believe my inputs got eaten. So the main quality of life thing that they're doing is making a smaller window for supers, so that if you do a super, you don't accidentally do super motions when you didn't want to. Like, you fake a fireball and then you actually throw a fireball, and then it's like, you did a quarter circle forward 19 hours ago. We're still gonna count that. Have a super. They've lowered the check window. The buffer, the input buffer window for supers, so that won't happen as much. So that's really nice. I really, really wish that they would change it so that supers have a higher priority than OD moves. Please? Please? Because that one's really annoying. Am I going to fix Aki, as Van Horn 2.0 asks? I will answer your question with a question. Does she need fixing? That's all I'm going to ask. Stanley Cup Gramps asks, what do I think of the Unity controversy? They're idiots. And almost kind of makes me happy that I didn't learn Unity. So now I might just go learn Godot and go learn Game Maker Studio instead. Do perfectly balanced fighting games really just mean no zoners? No. Zoners absolutely should exist in fighting games. Having different archetypes is what makes fighting games great. If you take away archetypes, I mean, obviously some games don't have like lots of zoners, or some of them may not have zoners at all, but whether you have a zoner or a grappler or whatever has nothing to do with balance, honestly. Nothing to do with it. So, have I picked up any other mobile games since FFRK shutting down? Yeah, I play Street Fighter Duel now. I play. Fortunately, Street Fighter Duel is a game that you only need to play once a day for like an hour, and you can take care of everything, and you never need to touch it again. But I do play Street Fighter Duel now. What made me go towards programming for my education? Asks El Zilcho. I wanted to make video games. I wanted to make video games. Then I found out that the video game industry sucks, so I didn't ever go that direction. So yeah, the Unity developers controversy, people switching to Godot and Unreal. Yeah, so I might learn Game Maker Studio because it's really easy. It's not as robust. It can't do 3D stuff. But I just want to see if I can bring some game ideas to life that I've had and just see how they feel and see if that if what I make actually like starts to gain any traction, and then maybe I can do a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter or something like that. True Napa says with that input buffer window, I don't really know what that means. Doesn't that mean it'll be harder to do supers? No, you just have less time to hit the button after you do the super motion. So what this game does is it does an exhaustive search of your input history and finds if the input for the super exists anywhere in there at all. And it goes back a certain number of frames. The problem is it goes back too many frames, and the window between when you hit the button and when you finish the input is too large. So sometimes I'll be like quarter circle forward, back forward, quarter circle forward. Oh, wait, now I just want to jab, and you hit jab, and then the game will go, let's go back and look. Here's the quarter circle forward. Here's another quarter circle forward. You meant to super. And you're like, what the hell? I haven't done a quarter circle forward in forever. And a super comes out and you die instead of just jabbing. So that's basically what it means. They're shortening that window. At least I know specifically for the button press after the motion completed. So if you do quarter circle forward, wait, and then press a button, it won't come out necessarily right away. I don't know if that's going to ruin my Zangief walking forward tech with the super, but I never landed that anyway, so it's okay. I like watching your comment. Have you thought of telling us when you'll be commentating an event online weeklies? I usually try to do that on Twitter, but like I forget. If I manage to get ADHD meds, maybe I'll start to do that. Did I get raided? Oh, I got raided by Sad Geef. Thank you. Maybe I'll try to do that more often on this stream, Harv. K. John says, learn Unreal. Yeah, I want to, but I want to start simple first. I just want to start simple first. What's my favorite food? Spaghetti and beef soup noodles, and maybe like my mom's little pork carrot stew and my mom's lion heads. Those are probably like some of my favorite foods of all time. The devs didn't do the game changes you suggested for HD remakes. We're not talking about Virus asks, do you agree with Punk that perfect parry will become a huge problem in the future? I mean, I had a whole video where I talked about why I don't like perfect parry. So I actually don't like perfect parry right now. I'm glad it's there because it's the only way to answer some things, but I think that that's a bad balance decision. I don't know, like perfect parries, like if perfect parries being triggered caused a canned follow-up that was like the way that I always want it is that like a perfect parry would trigger like a burst from Guilty Gear that's completely unblockable, that just freezes the screen so that you move and burst before the enemy does, so that you actually just hit them no matter what, even if they're invincible, and it captures them, puts them in a capture state, so it's a throw. So I push them away and do like 100 or 150 damage or 200 damage, and I push them away and now we're at 0. Then I'd be okay with perfect parries. I think the way that perfect parries are right now are they can change momentum a little bit too much for something that is potentially very difficult to plan for. Like, because the window is 2 frames, I still think it's not reliable enough from your opponent that you should be hampering your own offense, worried about people doing perfect parries. And plus the game isn't really designed that way anyway. So like if Marisa does strong into Gladius, you can perfect parry that. So if you're Marisa and you want to bait that out and you do strong into nothing, they'll parry, but then they let go of the parry button and you can't punish them for doing it anyway. So like, the game isn't designed in a way to counteract perfect parries. And so you can't change your offense to account for it. And you just kind of just have to hope that your opponent doesn't perfect parry everything you do. Hope. Whereas by the time we got the third strike, they finally added the difference between forward parries and down parries. You can't forward parry some moves, and you can't down parry other moves. Because in the original Street Fighter 3 and in Second Impact, down could parry... No, wait. I think they changed it in Second Impact. But the original Street Fighter 3, down parried anything you could low block. And so you just down parried everything. Right? And so it was just like, I can't even play anymore. But by the time you got the third strike, everyone had universal overheads. Everybody had super cheap, broken ass shit that blew up parries. And so you could actually account for parries. You can't really do that in Street Fighter 6 right now, which is why I don't like perfect parries at this point. So that's kind of my opinion on that right now. Couldn't you throw if you're Marisa? Yeah, I guess you would have to do strong into Scutum into the command grab. That might work. I'll have to test that out to see if that actually works, actually. Let's see if that actually works. Are people really having trouble with quarter circle forward times 2? No. It's not that they're having trouble with it. It's that the super keeps coming out when they didn't want it to. It kept coming out when they didn't want it to. Forrest says, the devs didn't do the game-changing suggestion for H... No, yeah, like I said, I'm not talking about that. Do I believe a new VF, DOA, Soul Calibur, or Bloody Roar will ever happen? In order of possibility, I think DOA, Bloody Roar, VF, and then Soul Calibur right now is kind of my order. I really hope Soul Calibur does have another one. I think Bloody Roar is niche and kind of silly enough that someone might actually just sit down and be like, yo, let's greenlight this. So weird. I actually feel like that might happen. Thank you, Yasha GT, who says I'm a legend. Aki stream on the Jay Chenzo channel in a few hours. No, because I'm going to be commentating ICFC later on. So you can actually just tune on twitch.tv/JChenzo or Tenno Media to watch that tournament. Let's see here. What else do we got? Should I learn to play other characters in order to get better at my main or just find the matchups? Louis B, play other characters, especially in this game because other characters don't mess up your ranking for your original character. Already, just having played Guile a little bit and Ken a little bit have made it so that I understand the characters a little better and will make it easier for me to fight them. Make sure, if you can, try to mess with them. You don't even have to dedicate yourself to them. But, for example, play Ken and just kill everybody with Jinrai kicks all day. And some people are going to randomly blow you up for it, and you're going to be like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. And that actually helps a lot. But it's hard to do. It's hard to do, so take that with moderation. Depends on your own level of skill, etc., etc. Yeah, do the combo trials. If anything, those do help, but you forget what the combo trials are teaching you because you're just obsessed with beating the combo trials. Actually, using them in a match will make you remember things a little bit better. Oh, lion heads. Yeah, sorry. Shizuto, Zangief. Chinese pork meatballs. So basically, a Chinese pork meatball is just a giant round of meat. And they are delicious. Let's see here. Food, meatballs. Let's do this. Okay, the reason why we call them lion heads. Hi, Nathan. It's because they look like little lion heads. Like if you imagine a lion with a mane, you could just stick the little lion face right on here, and that's what a lion head is. So this is basically what they are. So Chinese they call these things lion heads, and they're just Chinese meatballs. That's it. And they are freaking delicious. They're so good. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so good. Oh, the server maintenance is on right now. Makes sense. I also wanted to make games and found out the industry is awful. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Street Fighter 3 parries got nerfed basically towards the end. Guest pairing on Wake Up is actually considered a really bad idea in Street Fighter 3. That's actually considered an intermediate tactic. If every time you get up off the ground you're trying to parry, that's considered an intermediate tactic because the odds are not in your favor and people can actually blow you up pretty badly for trying to guess parry all the time. And again, in Street Fighter 6, your only option of blowing that up is a throw. And that's the only option you have. And you do a lot of damage, which is good. So, and that's why throw loops have to continue to exist for now. For now. Are you concerned the input changes will make the game harder? No, Fractal Cactus. I don't think that will make the supers harder to do. I really don't think that that'll happen. So, are you enjoying F099 off stream? In a way, yes, I am, Male Needle Queen, mainly because, oops, let me switch back here. Mainly because I'm not good at F-Zero, so unlike Tetris 99, I have no pressure to perform well. So if I'm finishing like 16th or 20th place, I'm like, woo, whatever, and it's fun. Whereas in Tetris 99, whenever I don't win, I'm mad at myself. So F099's been really nice because I've been able to chill. It's a lot easier to play. Zangief says, you're a Zangief user. I got clips of Super 2 coming out without 2 quarter circle forwards on SPD. I think it's picking up the inputs, but dude, I have tried to churn butter to SPD someone and it keeps coming out as the stupid level 2 so often, and it makes me so mad. So yes, it happens to me as well, Zangief. It happens to me as well. Are Lionheads specific to China? No, they are popular all over the place. I think they're a popular dish in Taiwan as well. People a lot like chemistry and stuff, experiments and trades. I hope not. Student loans, no bueno, no delicious meat is gone. Yeah, I hear that a lot from everybody, to be honest. Okay. But there you go. I've caught up to all the end of the questions there. It's 8 o'clock, so I think this might be a good time to call it a night over here because I don't see any new questions at this point. But I am hungry looking at these stupid pictures of the lion heads, so now I'm going to close that window because it's making me way too hungry right now. Oh, man. But yes, Aki is coming soon. I wonder if people can actually play her offline yet. Like if you update it, even while the servers aren't there, you might even be able to just jump into training mode and start messing with Aki. I don't know if you need the servers to verify that you have the season pass or something like that, but I mean, it'll be cool to see people check that out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys had a great time. Again, I will be commentating the ICFC later tonight. For those of you here watching on Twitch, on YouTube, you can check out youtube.com/TennoMedia for the archives up there. Or even check out twitch.tv/JChenzor on Twitch and look for the archives up there and watch that because I will be restreaming it on my channel as well. Also, another thing too, hey, if you've made it this far, kudos to you. I probably should have said this earlier. If there are any particular matches or anything that you would like me to analyze on the Tuesday show, like I did with the Snake Eyes Reynolds match, please put your suggestions in the YouTube comments, and that way, or if you're here on Twitch, DM me on Twitter, or even just at me on Twitter and give me some suggestions and stuff like that. I would love to analyze more matches. But outside of that, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, thank you for continually supporting the content over here. Hope you guys are enjoying everything here on Ultra Chen TV. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe out there, guys. Be excellent to each other. And for those of you on Twitch, don't go anywhere. I'm going to raid somebody. But for those of you on YouTube, the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.